I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. If you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.
Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Kelly, and we are back with another video. If you are new to the channel and you enjoy true crime stories, news, and politics, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button for me, guys. I would very much appreciate that, and I think you'll enjoy the content. Or if you don't want to subscribe, like the video. It would really help me out a lot. And if you're a returning listener or subscriber, thank you so much for being a friend as always. And also, please y'all interact with the video as well. Trying to grow as always, and I appreciate all that you guys can do to help me out with that aspect. So I wanted to jump on here, get into this quick subject with you guys, and this is more of like not so much about the story itself, but the question of whether or not you guys think that it is moral or right in our society to release murderers from prison. So I wanted to kind of get into that debate with you guys. I definitely would appreciate any comments, letting me know what y'all think about this, because this is something I'm curious and I have been kind of grappling with myself. So I wanted to jump on here and use this example as the basis for this conversation. So let's jump right on into it, guys, and y'all let me know what y'all think.
Ride a horse. Go ride a horse. Feeling towards everything. I feel no bad. I know no bad. Open them. I'm not against you. Huh?
Are you bitter?
Bitter? No. No.
I have a question. Are you guilty of any murders? Are you guilty of plotting any murders?
I killed a chicken once.
Any
And I
human
felt-
beings?
No. No.
You're absolutely innocent of any conspiracy to commit murder, or telling anyone to commit murder, or planning it?
I'll plead guilty to the Indian.
Hello? Okay, weirdos. So they were obviously high.
The summer
all
of love.
them, they had a special thing going on, the Manson family cult, whatever you want to call it. Maybe I'll do a deep dive into it one day. I don't know. These are like all subjects that like you think that you know one thing, but once you kind of like cross over into the like red pilling eyes wide open of the media and all the propaganda that we've been fed our whole lives, it's really hard to go back into some of these more complex stories and really delve into them. There's been a few that I have kind of gone back in with this new fresh set of eyes, but I'm not there yet with the Manson family. But either way, they did murder people. That I know for sure. That can be said, cut and dry. Doesn't really matter why you did this. You did it. You took a life. What frame of mind you were in at the time doesn't really matter. But let's get into this other video, kind of explaining who these people were. If you are not familiar with the Manson family, this is a brief video kind of describing them and who they were.
People look at you today, 20 years later, and they still have no idea what you're about. Tell me in a sentence who you are.
Hello?
Nobody. I'm nobody. I'm a tramp, a bum, a hobo. I'm a boxcar and a jug of wine. And a straight razor.
Oh, yeah?
Could get too close to me.
Oh, okay. What? What in the world? Okay. So he's a character. He's a character. Y'all see, I know y'all see the swastika on the forehead, okay, guys? Maybe I do want to do a deep dive into Man's family. I don't know. It's just going to be such a big research. Oh my god, it's going to be so much research because it's like, I would want to get... Anyways, I'm really I'm talking out loud. It's not important. I wanted to show you guys kind of just a brief overview.
I don't accept the whole situation. You know, like I was in the desert minding my business. This confusion belongs to you. It's your confusion.
Oh.
I don't have any confusion. I don't have any guilt. I know what I've done, and no man can judge me. I judge me. What have you done, Joey? I've stayed in the desert and run with the coyotes and ate off the plants and found out you could live out there without this society. And that's where I'd like to go live, you know. But you won't let me go, will you? You don't know anything with society? Pardon? You don't know anything with society now? Owe him anything? I've paid him 22 years of my life. You know, I'm the other end of your society. You know, so you can ride your bicycles and do your thing. I live in your reform schools and your orphanages. I'm not against you. I'm not against you. Huh?
Are you bitter?
Bitter? No.
But
No.
you feel you paid some price so far in your life.
Price?
To society, you said it.
Yeah, okay.
Does that make you bitter?
I don't know what that means.
How do you feel right now? Do you feel good feelings towards the judge?
I feel a little nervous. A little nervous. I feel good feelings towards everything. I feel no bad. I know no bad.
Okay, gentlemen, that's about it.
Wow. Interesting. So, yeah, that's Charles Manson right there, you know. Not saying, you know, he's a good person. Obviously, he wasn't, you know, again. But there's a story there that people have really, you know, have pushed as the narrative, and it may or may not be true. I don't know. You know, I don't know. I wasn't there. You cannot. I don't just blindly trust history and what people tell me anymore. So I'm skeptical about everything. So I do know, though, however, that this Leslie Van Houten, she was not only accused and convicted, but she has admittedly said that she, you know, killed people. Whether or not Charles Manson had, you know, conspired with her or encouraged her to commit these murders. Fact of the matter is that he actually did not stick a knife or kill anyone. That is fact. That is actual true fact. So he was arrested as being the leader of this whole conspiracy, but he never actually did any violence towards these people. And that's not to say that he's you know, absolved of any guilt. That's obviously not true if he did conspire with them, but I just want to put that out there. So let's look at this article right here. Okay. So just a brief overview of what it is that she actually did. So we don't need to get into who she was again. It's just, I want to discuss the theory of releasing murderers from jail with you guys. That's my main purpose of this video. So what it was that she actually did was following. According to her, all we did was listen to the Beatles' White Album and read the biblical book of Revelations. Manson had visions of race war and had a bizarre plan intended to instigate it, beginning with the murders of model and actor Sharon Tate, the wife of director Roman Polanski, and others on August 8, 1969. So Van Houten was not directly involved in those murders, but the following night she participated with Charles Tex Watson and Patricia Krenwinkel in the murders of Leno and Rosemary LaBianca, during which she held Rosemary down with a pillowcase over her head as others attacked her. Van Houten then took a brutal turn, inflicting 16 of the more than 40 stab wounds Rosemary received. So this was her, along with the two other girls that were actually involved with the actual killings of all of these people. And you guys were able to see their demeanor in court during the entire proceedings of their trials. They were totally like no remorse whatsoever. They were singing throughout the hallways of the courthouse. They were very much still enthralled with Charles Manson and backing him up as, you know, this godlike figure. They were very much not remorseful for what they had done, or even it appeared to be in touch with reality. So what I'm trying to get at here is that it's not like these were girls who kind of snapped out of it and came to their senses after doing what they did. They brutally murdered people, like stab and attack people. There was messages written in blood on the walls at these crime scenes. Just horrific, very horrific, you know, killings. And after doing that, being young girls, had no feelings of guilt, sadness, or otherwise after going through this process and then being put through a trial. So I find it hard to believe, you know, that this was a person who was capable of reform to the point that she should be released. Now, this gets me back to the point of whether or not it's even moral for us as a society to allow murderers to have their lives back after taking the life of another in the circumstance of first-degree murder. Okay, so what I mean there is, I think there are circumstances where if you take a life, then yes, maybe you should be able to be released at some point. And those being like severe and provable, like severe mental illness. I'm thinking like Andrea Yates, you know, that level. Or if it was like an accidental murder, obviously if you kill somebody in a car accident or otherwise, you know, if you're accused of maybe like selling someone bad drugs, you know, that's, even that I could see maybe release after like years and years and years of prison. But like, you know, or, I mean, maybe even like crimes of passion, you know, I don't know. That's more along the lines of something that's unforgivable, and it should really invoke, you know, prison, like a lifetime sentence of being in prison, because I don't believe if you purposely take the life of somebody, no matter how much you reform yourself in prison, quote unquote, I don't care how much schooling you go through. I don't care how much, you know, you attend, you know, different Bible studies, or, you know, you might go to church every single day in prison. You might be a model prisoner. You might be somebody who has actually done good within the prison, helped others, you know, been this, like, you know, leader, maybe even. You know, there's lots of things you can do being a prisoner. That's all fine and dandy. It still doesn't take away what you did. So, in my mind, it's clear. This is my opinion. This is where I want to know what you guys' opinion are. If you're convicted of first-degree murder, and this is like an intentional, brutal, violent killing of another, you should never be let out of prison. That's my take on it. And honestly, in a lot of these cases, I think that these people should be put to jail, and they should not be a burden on the state for decades. This woman was in prison for 50 years, okay? She was released at 70 something, I believe 73 years old, to now go on and live the last, 10 years of her life on parole out in the free world. Why? Because she's too old and frail to hurt anybody now? It's like, what is the point? What is the purpose of that? I don't see what that does for anybody, and the family members are not happy about this at all either. So I think that's also a huge factor, in my opinion, is that you're never going to be able to take back what you did when you take a life, especially in this manner. You know, again, accidents are one thing. Brutally killing someone's family member and then being released from prison is a whole new level of trauma that I just don't even know what that would feel like. So Leslie Van Houten's released from prison, blasted by survivors of Manson family victims, nauseating and gut-wrenching. So the victims' families, they are not okay with this release. There are other co-conspirators and co-defendants who remain to this day in prison that also claim that they are reformed, born-again Christians, have done X, Y, and Z and deserve to be released, but have not yet been. She is the only and the first one of these Manson family cult members to actually be released, and there are surviving family members of all of these victims who to this day said, this is not something that they condone. It doesn't lessen the blow. It's just as mind-numbing, nauseating, gut-wrenching, and painful to think that this release is real. And that is from one of the victims. So it's interesting because up until, just this past year, Gavin Newsom had actually denied parole to all of these different co-defendants. Just back in, when was it? 2022. He blocked parole for Manson follower Leslie Van Houten. Okay, so he reversed the panel's recommendation that she be freed after spending half a century in prison. And he said, quote, currently, she poses an unreasonable danger to society if released from prison at this time. Okay? And that was back in, when was this, 2020? So, yeah, he actually denied her release several different times, on several different occasions, as did the previous governor. He had reversed parole recommendations in 2019, 2020, and then again in 2022, November of, what was that, last year? So what changed your mind, Gavin Newsom? I mean, it's just fascinating. It seems like political pressure can sure do a lot, So California governor, as of July 8th, Gavin Newsom says he won't interfere with release of Charles Manson gang leader or gang killer Leslie Van Houten. So, from the LaBianca family, my family and I are heartbroken because we're once again reminded of all the years that we have not had my father and my stepmother with us. My children and my grandchildren never got an opportunity to get to know either of them, which has been a huge void for my family, says Corey LaBianca, who is 75 years old. So, yeah, I mean, these people are still victimized to this day by this whole proceeding of releasing killers from prison after they've been there for decades. I mean, a life sentence should mean a life sentence, and you cannot argue, well, the people who are directly involved have either, passed away or, they've gotten over it. People never get over things like this. So it's re-victimizing people in a lot of these circumstances, or, causing direct harm. I mean, you could even have an argument for if the victims' families are okay with the murderer being released. I don't know. Maybe they can hash that out. There's some, I'm sure, tree-hugging liberal out there who would be totally forgiving of someone who may have killed one of their family members and thinks it's okay for these people to be released. That's where, the discussion comes in. I want to know what you guys think, because I would say absolutely not. It's also something that we need to hold ground on, because when you give an inch, it really does, it allows people to take the entire mile. And in a society, you have to have standards, and you have to have law and order, and you have to have, a red line. When you say that you're going to do something, when you say that something's not okay, when you say life in prison without the possibility of parole. This woman was initially sentenced to death, which is what I believe should have occurred. That was reversed because California outlawed the death penalty. I mean, it's like you just keep giving more and more and more to these people. So first, when we had real standards and morals in society, this woman would have been executed for her role in taking the lives of several different people, whether or not she only admitted to stabbing one. It doesn't matter. She participated in a mass killing. But the more and more our society has regressed, then she got away with not being sentenced to death, okay? And then, well, maybe we can let her out. It's been 50 years. It's like you just keep giving more and more and more. And now this woman is free. These people have been re-victimized by this whole situation, and they're void, as that person put it, being absent from their family members for all of this time and having to live their life without these people at the hands of her. It doesn't seem right. I don't know. It's like, how much are we going to give? Are we now going to just become like, countries in like Europe who, when you get a life sentence in a place like the UK or some places in Europe, that really only means like 20 years. So you could kill somebody brutally and then be sentenced to like a life sentence, and that means in 20 years you'll get out. Is that what we're in for next? Because that's the way that we're going. If we don't start holding on to some of these lines and really putting our foot down and saying, no, enough is enough. And when you take the life of someone deliberately, and you have your mental faculties about you, you're totally and completely sane person who knows what they're doing. She obviously did, because she's come out and now said that she's remorseful. And, it just doesn't really matter. You can still make yourself a better person in prison. You can find God. You can, get right with God. You can do all of that. But you should die behind those four walls, if not be executed for your crimes, if you take someone else's life. I don't know. That's, to me, a just society. But what do you guys think? I would love to know. So please let me know in the comments down below. Please like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel, guys, and I would very much appreciate that. And one last thing, go follow me on Twitter. What the hell, please. I would very much appreciate you guys. And until next time, I will see y'all later. Okay, bye.
I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. If you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.